Few minutes to go, isn't it?
Yeah, we're live.
We are.
Mhm.
We are live. We are live. We are live. We are live. Are you feeling pretty this afternoon?
I
Because
feel
there's
pretty.
flower on your dress.
Oh, so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and something.
This is what my color is today on my eyes.
You're orange.
I have orange eyes.
Or yellow, some other people think it
It
is.
was. This afternoon.
They'll say,
As I was
hey,
having a meeting, someone said,
hey.
the woman with the yellow glasses said
shaky,
orange.
shaky.
It's not. It's not.
What's up?
Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Everybody.
You guys are not tired of this one.
Hope you're feeling good. Feeling.
Hope you're feeling fine.
I actually like the song.
Yeah.
I sing the song to myself, like, hope you're feeling fine. I like the way I'm feeling now.
Come on.
No, God, use your regrets for my blues. Hey. Okay.
Oh.
See, when some of us
My love of you never
some of us
die.
in
Yes, baby boo.
church, some of them in the world.
Yes,
So
yes,
they know
we
what
love
this
being
Don't
in the
deceive
world.
yourself.
No, we don't bother.
Actually, yeah.
We have got
Never mind.
nothing to prove.
Yeah, actually, that's
You
true.
know, yes, we're of the
Soon
world.
now, very soon.
And we love being
We
in
are
the world.
going
Yes,
to
You
see
see,
that
you know, see Jesus.
If she jumps,
I hope you're not planning to do it overnight.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to the studio.
I know. We're so sorry. The last 2 weeks have been a bit.
I'm not really sorry like that. Let me not lie.
You are not sorry, but I'm
not
sorry for
in
last
that
week.
sense. In the sense that, like, okay, we promised to always come here every week and give you guys our innermost thoughts and our innermost
That's why I'm
selves.
sorry.
Yeah,
That's why I'm
about
sorry.
that,
Yes.
but work.
Yeah,
Work
we
is
had
work,
a
yeah.
couple of things to do, and it will be what's the word now? Not right. Irresponsible of us.
Irresponsible.
Yes. To take advantage or take for granted your love. And so we apologize for not being here last week and the other week. And we'll do our best. We cannot promise that we'll come every Thursday, but we'll do our best to be here as much as possible. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you all for joining us today.
Unreal Deep CONVOZ.
Oh yeah, good to be back, everyone.
You're not doing
what?
Instagram.
No.
Okay.
My phone is. I'm actually in a meeting somewhere, so I had to get someone to stand in for me at the meeting. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
The session with Dr. Les Brown.
Okay. Oh yes, I normally do a lot of stuff with.
Yeah, so we're having a Zoom meeting with him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Coolio. So what's up, guys? It's been 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks since I saw your face, Pierre.
Since we finished the series on
before you say I do. Yes.
Very. We'll spend about 2 months, I think, on it.
About that.
Yeah. About 7 weeks, I think, on that.
Yeah,
so it's really
it's important.
Really good. And of course, we're going to follow up with after you say I do. We're going to follow up with that, but not immediately. Let's take a break from
do.
Yeah, from doing.
I'm yeah. From somebody who is in church. A churchious somebody, yes.
Yeah. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Anyway, so we're going to follow up later on with the conversations that you should have after you say I do. And if you haven't started having those conversations, you should start having those conversations.
Yep.
But so yeah, we're just going to take a break from that and talk about some other things that are,
are growing,
that are important.
That
is very much part of our new normal now. And our topic for today is the dynamics of a blended family.
Yeah.
And If you don't know what a blended family is,
We have the expert.
we have the experts.
The woman of timber and
The
caliber.
woman of timber
Oh,
and
Obese
caliber.
and Okekwe. We're just here to actually interview and learn and listen to her, because some of us don't have that experience or expertise, So we're just going to interview the
Whose suit? Why are you asking PF where is his suit?
suit care.
I don't know.
I believe the person is in the masculine. Any suit.
Yeah, who did you promise a suit? There's somebody there.
I don't understand. I don't wear suits.
Who did you promise
I
to
don't wear
give?
suit. Even at his that corporate event, I've never seen praise.
Well, I've done.
He wears
suits.
jackets
I've
and
done-
then turtlenecks.
I've done suits
But I
maybe
can't remember
about
last I saw
in the
you
last
like
3
a
weeks.
full-on-
I've done like twice with
Okay.
suspenders.
Okay,
so
interesting.
so it's maybe the person must have sent me somewhere.
Maybe.
Could that be Leslie?
No, it's not Leslie.
It's not listening.
Okay.
Leslie doesn't have our time yet.
Okay. But I normally don't wear suits. This is me. No man.
No man.
On a good day, even to
Yes.
see the governor, like I'm like this.
yes. We own no boxes,
Oh yeah.
so we're good.
Yes.
So
Okay, so
blended
so
homes.
what's a blended family to start with?
I think a blended family is.
You see, we didn't even call her. She just
She
started.
knows herself.
This is the woman.
She knows herself. She
I was going to
knows
say my
herself.
own definition,
So
but you
why?
guys can come up with your
We
own
don't have any
definition.
definition.
No,
But the definition.
Okay, guys, ignore them. Ignore them.
So we have come to
today.
interview you.
No, interview me today. So I think a blended home is maybe two families coming together to live as one,
Okay.
and
What does that mean? Two families.
So two separated families. So it could be a man with children
Okay.
who's married a woman who either has children or doesn't.
Okay.
So you're bringing different,
Or the other way around.
or the other way around, of course. And you're coming together to form a home.
Okay.
And so it's blended because you're bringing children that are not mine, and I'm mothering them, or he's fathering them.
Okay.
And in this, it's like I said, some situations where I bring my own children, you bring your own children. So we now want to create a family with the different dynamisms or the different dynamics in it. So that's what a blended family is. Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. I mean, that's you're bringing your children.
Yeah.
I'm bringing my children.
Yes.
We're blending into.
And then sometimes we have now our own child or our own
so
children.
that's three.
So it's 3 years.
It's more than that. Before
Wow.
we even get to the layers. Before we even get to it's more than that.
Yeah.
The layers of a blended family it's beyond just a man and a woman and children. It's much more.
Oh, then
much
it
more
goes wider, of
spectrum
course. Family now.
of layers.
There's now the in-laws from here. There's the family. There's the in-laws from here. There's that. There's the in-laws from here. Then the new child also then has his own now biological grandmother and
It's looking like a monster already.
it's a
higgy
well.
it's a higgy hagga. It's a crinkle
Crinkle,
and
crankle.
cool. Yes. And so there's so many mixtures.
Wow.
It's like a cocktail
Yeah.
of
I can
drinks.
imagine.
White
I can imagine the World War.
That's why they will find you.
The
and
world,
rum,
the world war going in there
tequila.
that someone needs to navigate.
Yeah.
So I mean, sounds interesting. I mean, I would love to take on that challenge as a family life professional, to help them mediate and arrive. But I mean, it's better to work with them from as an outsider, not to be involved.
Not to be involved.
Because when you're involved, it's a different ballgame.
I used to say that we're special, right? It's like half castes. They're neither white nor black. And so the black people think that they're superior. The white people think they're inferior. So they you see that they cluster together because they understand themselves and the tricks and that come in that space. So I think the blended home is like that, and it's growing bigger and bigger because a lot of divorces are happening now.
Yeah.
And so
People
a lot of people are
remarrying.
remarrying, and that I'm sure in the next 3 years there'll be more blended homes than normal homes.
Okay.
around town.
I don't think
so.
they're actually normal homes as well.
Well, no, they are normal, but
they
because
have
of the
normality.
because there's a trick in it. So that's why I don't call it no. And I'm not saying they're abnormal. I'm saying like a normal you husband, wife,
Like a
your children.
polygamous.
Exactly. So it's like that, and that you can't. It sometimes is even the polygamy is even better because your mother is there. In a blended home, sometimes your mother isn't there.
My greatest.
Your biological father.
Your biological father is not there.
I'd like to try out and working with a blended family because my greatest challenge as a practitioner was having to work with a polygamous home of 6 wives
Oh, wow.
and having to help them navigate, creating a family vision, interviewing everyone, healing a whole lot of. It was an interesting journey for me, and it gave me a different perspective to what people have always said about polygamy. To say that it can always work out because now they work out very well, So I would like to see what this situation would look like, because it's sounding from my audacious self and the crazy me is looking like something I would like to take on.
Yeah, welcome.
To work with a family like that. But because as you were defining it right now, if you don't even take the war of the in-laws or the different families
and friends,
especially
in-laws or friends.
Now if you have a situation where all of them are alive, that's even better.
Yes,
it's better when all of them are alive. Let's say divorce and they're now coming together. That's one layer. You now have situations where somebody dies.
Yes.
Then the person that dies now, take for instance the person has only child and now give back to another child. Right, so there's a pressure from the family to say, "Give us our child." Only us can
look after our child.
So how are you going to convince them to say, "You know what?" And here's the husband saying, "My child is my child." So you are fighting war on one side, and they don't trust the new one.
And sometimes they think that you're the one that killed the person.
Yeah, and they don't. So then, if there's what is going to them from their daughter. Before
they've lost out on that. And
so,
maybe this guy used to also do that for them.
Maybe she's also the breadwinner. For that family. So the bread has been cut off. So it's
a dance.
It's a dance.
But I would like to ask you, Adiola, do people actually process these things mentally before they step into this blended family?
I don't think so. And
because it's sounding like when Jesus' disciples say, "If this is what it is, it's better."
Pass over me.
I think that it's just like even like a normal. I meet a guy I like. A lot of times, at least these days, is that people are not counting the cost of a lot of things that they're doing. Because we're only like today we're talking to a cousin of ours who says she has a friend who says she has an agenda. By next year, she must be married to somebody. So she's dating this guy that treats her like trash. But she has an agenda.
To be married.
And do you understand?
To be married.
And she's like, it doesn't matter, So it's the same thing. Like in my case, I probably thought that because also now it's easier for me to talk about my situation because I understand it better. I was coming from a place of neediness, right? And I was 34 when I got married. So in Nigeria, you're already old, your eggs are almost finished. The different nonsense that they say that you are fed with and you start to believe at some point in your life. So, and then also I was also in a phase where I was a savior. I had it because the thank you I got from people was the air that I lived on, right? So I picked on projects. My friends were people who had issues, and I was the one always saving them. So
even though you needed saving,
but I didn't know that. For me, I felt I was just fine. Like to the point where I would go to a job, they won't pay your salary. I'm the one that's feeding everybody.
Wow.
Yes, I was that ridiculous.
Do you still have that?
I have plenty of money, my brother. There was a time my boss said he couldn't pay somebody's salaries. I said he should take my money and pay them. Wow. Like that's how I was, because in my mind I'm fine, but these people don't have anywhere some help can come from. So let me be their help. Whilst I find my help, which always came, to be honest, from other places. You know, I mean, there are times when I want to buy a car, somebody will buy me a car. I want to do a house, somebody sends me money. So I always found support. So in my mind, I was fine, and my job was to live for others. So at the time, of course, the person that I got married to also had lost. Time he's marrying a woman that is mothering children that are not hers. This is the first time these children now have a new mother that they didn't grow up with or didn't know. This is the first time I'm getting married. This is the first time now, in my first time of getting married, this is now me with children that I didn't birth, that already have been formed.
Wow.
Then in all of it, I'm also expecting to bring mine in. And I'm meant to treat these children like they're my children and not treat them differently from the way I would have treated my child if my child is dead. Come on, guys.
It's sounding like
and that's just one part
That's
of
just
the
one
layer.
part.
because
That's one
by
part.
the time we add the in-laws,
Let's
it's
not
a
even go there yet.
completely different thing.
It's looking like
Maybe that's not
there has to be a degree. It can't be a school.
it's a degree.
It's a
sir.
degree
It's
program
a 4-year.
to say you want to. Do you still want? Because I mean, I'm not sure you would have gone ahead if you knew.
If I knew, then I probably wouldn't have. Because nobody, it's not if anybody sat me down to say, well, this thing that you're about to enter,
It would just look like boy meets
this is
girl, and
what's
we
going
just
to happen.
assume.
And so I would have loved him, but loved him from a distance. And it's not like I regret it now. I mean, if I didn't marry him, I would not be where I am right now. So I'm grateful, and I won't even be who I am right now. Because so I'm really grateful for him in my life. Like I said, he's such a phenomenal person. I'm grateful for what I've learned through him. I'm grateful for what I've learned through the kids. I'm grateful for what there are certain things that it won't occur
But
to
you
me.
grew into that.
I had to.
Wow.
I had to.
You know, I don't know how you can do it when the shadow of another woman looms over you.
You see, that one, I didn't know that I was trying to walk in her shoes. It took me almost 4 or 5 years to and to be honest, I think I probably just and this is me being really honest. Maybe the last 2 months or 3 months was when I came out of it completely.
Wow.
And we're almost 7 years married.
You know, I mean,
because I just want to add one thing, because they were in love when she died.
oh wow.
That's the difference. If they're divorced, I don't want to see you, you don't want to see me. That's different. Now, some people divorce, but it's only the man that is divorced. The wife is still married.
Exactly. That's another. So
that one is still there, or vice versa.
Snooping,
So she's
checking.
bitter about. Somebody was telling me about a friend of her brother or something. The wife that he left is not happy that she's still till today she's not remarried. He's remarried.
Wow.
And now there's a lot of course there's a lot of beef and stress
Honestly,
going on.
I think maybe people get married need to get right, and also maybe Africans now need to grow up. Because I see whites divorce without any form of bitterness
Of course.
these days.
But some of them
some of them
divorce
also-
with so
also-
much
I mean,
bitterness.
Yeah.
I think it's a human thing. It's not.
It's
not
human.
even.
Because if you break my trust,
Yeah.
you know,
But the thing for
there's no
me
color of skin.
in this, all of this is, I mean,
The comparison by family
It's,
is a big also.
it's. I'm trying to process it. My brain can't process it because
Try.
it's better to be watching it in a movie than for you to be the one going through.
Nollywood,
Distance.
new Nollywood.
You know, but because by the time families now come with their own problem,
Yes.
you know, it becomes another. So we have to find a way to simplify this blended family.
I think even because it's with this idea of blended family. I mean, it's a term we only just recently came across because of by proximity. Let me put it that way. But I think it's not a term that is really out there in the sense that people can, you know, when you say
Come
blended
out and
family,
talk about
people
it.
know exactly what you
No,
mean by
There's a
blended
stigma.
family.
There's a stigma
It's
around
because it's now called blended family.
it. So it sounds cool.
It sounds cool.
It's
Before
step
now,
family, stepmother.
is what
And then you're the
Yoruba-
other woman.
yeah.
You don't want to come out and say I'm the other woman. Because there's it's like, oh, you know, yeah, you're not the first.
Yeah.
Right? It took me a while to be able to come out and say I have stepchildren.
And
Like
the
I'm a
children,
stepmother.
the children are looking at you and say, "This is not our mom."
Yes.
If the woman is alive, you remember they'll still have to go
Of
for
course,
holiday.
they will still
Then
go
what
for
is the woman
holiday.
feeding them
Who are
with?
they
Yeah.
listening to?
You know, so
If the woman is dead, also there's also a you know, I didn't understand it before. There's also a loyalty. I remember when I got married to my husband, one of his late wife's friend called me and said to me, "I will not be your friend." And I asked her why, and she said because if truthfully we ever come back and she finds out that I was your friend, she will be jealous. She said because she will be jealous, so she wants to believe that the dead woman too will be jealous. But guess what? And I told her, I said, I applaud you for your bravery.
And your
Because
honesty.
and your honesty, because some other people are feeling it, but not saying
they can even
anything.
poison you.
Do you understand? So you have come out to tell me, so thank you very much for telling me, stay in your lane, I stay in my lane. Unfortunately, it was only mouth too she was using because she really wanted to be my friend. So she maybe felt if she said, I don't know what she was thinking because now we're now dragging. So at the point I had to ask her, Madam, are you my friend or are you not my friend? Because I don't understand. Me, I'm one lane. You have told me you can't be my friend. I've fact you put you here. Now all of a sudden you're upset that we're not doing this together. We're not doing that together. I only do that with friends. So you have that aspect of people as well. Now, there's even the children feel like if they love you a particular way openly, they're being disloyal
Yeah.
to their mother or father.
Do you think that if in a blended family,
Yes.
if the man and the woman decide
Yes.
to be for themselves,
Yes.
do you think it will be easier?
Yes,
for this
it will,
part?
definitely. There has to be that sit down, like I said. If we
Yeah.
sat down to say, okay, now we're all in a different scenario. This is new for all of
For
us.
everybody.
How do you even want to be loved? What does love mean to you? You children, because they also, you know, I came in thinking, oh, I'm going to teach them. I'm going to groom them. I'm going to shape them. I'm going to remove. I'm going to do the best I can for them. Do you understand? I will bring. That's the ideology I came with, right?
But also, you know, it's I think why it's difficult also is because oftentimes, you know, we overrate or we is it overrate?
All of the
What was
above.
it?
Underrate,
There's a right word.
overrate.
That the fact that if someone who is going into blended family may have not totally healed from the pain
Of course.
of the past.
Of course.
And here is Africa where we never go for healing and grief.
Of course.
You know, so we just think move on.
And I've
Then-
done it before, so I can do it
yeah,
again.
so you move in with another person,
Yes.
then you realize that she's not my partner. She doesn't
Yes.
cook this way. She doesn't
Comparison
do this
comes in,
thing
of
this way.
course.
You know, then you're looking at the children. She's trying to correct the children honestly,
You are seeing it as
and you're like,
what's
maybe it's because she
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
have
exactly. It's
Yeah.
because she's not their mother.
Uh-huh.
That's why she's
Yes.
talking like
Then
this.
you have a situation where the woman also comes with her own children, and the man is a drunk. He has a reputation for women.
and
then you are-
raping children.
Then you begin to look at your own daughter, who is now a teenager, to now say, hey.
When bomb shots in the house.
Uh-huh. Then there's also this trajectory of, okay, the woman comes in with teenage girls, you know, the man already has teenage boys, you know, and you are wondering, what if
they start to mingle.
You know, it's a monster that will need to finish the work on paper before we step in.
Yeah.
Which I don't think people do, because people don't even understand it. But because a lot of people just like, this is the man I'm getting married
It's just like when somebody dies or a parent dies, nobody thinks about the children, right? Even in divorce, nobody thinks about the children. They only think about themselves and what they want and how they want it. So they use the children more as weapons against themselves. Nobody thinks, okay, what is this doing? Because the children also, you hear, oh, spoke to her and she did not answer me. She was rude to me. She's rebellious. When I was even talking to somebody yesterday who was saying to me that her husband, when she tells the child to do something, the husband will step in and say, leave her alone. Let her do whatever she wants to do. And she's upset. And I smiled about it because I said to her, I said, we'll talk separately because obviously there's other underlining things to it. But the first main thing is we come into blended homes with a lot of insecurities already. So it's like they bathe you well.
Insecurities and assumptions.
So sometimes also some kind of conclusion somewhere as well. So you come in thinking, okay, and you may actually have genuine and good intentions. But it's not. Yeah. Because I remember then I would do something, I'll be asking myself, should I have done it? Could I have done maybe? But I didn't realize that when it had to do with my own child, I didn't question myself. Because that was my own child. Now it didn't matter to me, but I had to start to tell, of course, I started speaking to myself in a different way. So I'm not even in that space at all. However, it's something that a lot of, especially even women, because it's the woman that makes the home. Especially women, when they come into that.
It's not the woman that makes them. It's
now it's. I'm saying that's why I did this. Okay. Because it's the woman that is the homemaker. That's why I did that. So they say, right? So it's the woman that goes through all these different layers and tries to, and then sometimes the man is the breadwinner. Once again in quotes, so he's out most of the time. So you're the one dealing with all these different things, and all he does is. And sometimes if you're away a lot, you compensate for it by allowing things just happen, just because you're away and you want to be seen as a cool person. So if a woman who really wants to do stuff is married to a man who is so distant, then there's going to be a lot of problems. And the children will take advantage.
They wouldn't be on the same page.
Then I think we don't. Africa, I think, needs to develop now, because there are conversations we don't have because we think that it's wrong to have those conversations. So, for example, you want to say before someone marries somebody, what if we've had that conversation to say, hey, with families, for example, to say if any of us dies, the couple takes custody of the child.
Yeah.
And if they decide to move, they have final say over the matter. And if they're going to remarry, they still have the final say. It doesn't mean you can't come visit the child, but the child is not yours. So you realize that psychologically, we never prepare because we don't have those kind of conversations.
Because you don't plan to
die. So but these are things we need to begin to talk about.
Yeah.
Because I remember when I'm doing premarital counseling, I'm asking, what happens if adultery happens? And what people say over my dead body, it will not happen in Jesus' name. I'm like, why don't you prepare? So I realized that couples who have had that conversation and are prepared, they are better able to manage it because they have mentally processed it than people who believe that it can never happen. So you have a situation where the family, they've not talked about, again, while it's okay to think about them and feel for them because they've never been in that thing. I think it's high time we began to now define who is the couple. What is the place of the extended family?
Exactly.
Who owns a child? Right? So if we agree that the child is owned by the two people are the major stakeholders, husband and wife.
Yeah.
So when one person dies, the other person continues the journey with whosoever they have chosen to continue the journey with. And the only stake you have is that child, your child who is dead, not the grandchild.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yes.
So when people these conversations are out there.
Yeah.
You know, people now know that at the point of marriage, we are giving our daughter or our son out.
Yeah.
You know, and so
Completely.
we have no say.
Yeah.
You know, because again, I have seen situations where, you know, I mean, maybe in movies, where Western movies, American movies, where, you know, someone dies and you could see the in-laws are civil. They are not snooping.
They're not.
And they're saying, they're not
They're
insisting.
there to support
Yeah.
when you need it.
Maybe because the laws also is very clear over there.
Right.
You know, but here, that nothing is defined here.
And because here they say if you marry the man, you have married his family.
No, how can you marry the family?
Woman, you have married the woman
You know,
and
so
her
these are
family.
conversations we need to begin to have. You know, because if we, even though the challenge now is, we are even talking about the case where the woman is dead,
Yes.
where she's not dead.
Where she's he's not dead.
So it's co-parenting situation.
Yeah.
Co-parenting plus
Plus the bio mother or bio
yeah.
father
Oh
outside.
my God.
so
You know, and then imagine now if those ones don't get along.
So it now becomes when the child is going to spend, and let's say he's living with the new father and the new mother.
Yes.
Now he has to go for holiday here.
Yes.
You know, so they are trying to use the child to score.
And children naturally will lean on to places where things are easier for them.
yeah.
So even when your biological children would they can turn out your father and mother's head together.
Yeah.
Oh, mommy, I didn't tell. Then you guys tell daddy something different. Imagine when that now happens in a blended home. Now nobody trusts themselves.
Anybody. Yeah.
So let me put it to you.
Let me put it to you.
Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I do have to step out.
You can step out. You can step out.
But I want you guys to, but you still have to deal with these with the different layers.
Yes.
But there's also something that has come to mind over the last few months or so, is that when you turn the situation around in terms of the woman coming into an already existing family situation, that it's a lot different and a lot difficult for the woman than a man who's coming into an already existing family
You have
situation.
not been there, so you can't tell.
In terms of the dynamics, though,
like
you're saying, as the woman, you kind of have to defer to the man, to the husband. But the husband, the other way around, your husband is already at the place of authority. So some of those questions of those self-doubt questions.
No, it depends on. It depends on what if
that's insecurity
in situations where this woman is more well-to-do than the man coming.
Yes, that's a different scenario.
If he does certain things and the woman, even if she doesn't say a word, and you see her facial expressions, you'll be asking yourself, is it because I'm not this child's father?
It depends also on the reputation of the man.
Steve Harvey is in a blended family. One of his wife's son said to him, "You are not my father." He said, "Yes." So where's your punk father then? Why is he not here? Whilst you are under my roof, this is what you will do. But he opened his mouth and said it to him. And he probably, I don't know whether that was the best answer. It could have been the best answer. Maybe the boy needed to hear the truth. And that's what I say to people that, look, when they say, "Oh, I'm looking for a woman that can love my children like hers," I'm like, why? Why does she have to love them like hers? Are they hers? But can she respect them? Can she cherish them? Can she do what she can do for them as a woman would do for children?
Honestly, this is eye-opening for people.
Putting that extra pressure to say you must love them like your own. Why?
Because a lot of people don't understand this thing. So let me ask you: someone is out there listening to us, wants to step into a blended family. What are the things they should watch out for? If you have 5 things they should watch out for.
The first thing is that they should all go for therapy. I think, whether it's separate, whether the woman died or the man died, or they're alive but they're separated, everybody needs to go for therapy. Even plus the bio mother or father if they're still alive. Sometimes they need to even go for a group therapy.
Family therapy, yeah.
Right, where after the husband, the new husband and wife sit down to say, this is how we want our home to run. They will now tell the woman outside or the father outside, this is how in my house, this is what we're going to be doing. Then they talk to families, because the man has in-laws.
Yeah.
The woman outside also has father and mother, and they're these children's grandparents. So first of all, there has to be some form of inside therapy and then external therapy where everybody sits down to say, this is how we're going to operate in this home. Where they sit down and say, aside now the therapy, this is what love means to me. This is what love means to you. Even the children will speak. They will also explain to the children that I'm not trying to take the space of your father or your mother, because that's what a lot of us come inside there thinking that, oh, I'm going to be her mother. You don't necessarily have to, but because also a lot of us are needy, a lot of us are not complete within ourselves. We come in there thinking, so many different things, and because we come also with those insecurities, it's a mess.
Now, what is the place of support groups in things like this?
It would be so good to have, like, if there was a support group that I could have gone to that could have at least prepared me for some of the things that I will see, right? They may not have changed my mind from whether marrying the person I married or not, but at least I would have been guarded to say, okay, because I came in with a very free heart and open mind, saying, okay, I can sort him out, and also from my savior syndrome, oh, I can sort him out. I can come in for the children. They didn't plan for this kind of thing to happen to them. So they're wonderful children. He's a wonderful man. As I love him, I love them. I will treat them. I will do it. So those are the things. And then, of course, you don't do something, or you do something, people are looking at you so you're constantly judging yourself. Constantly. So if you're not in a place of peace within yourself, you'll finish yourself. Because the in-laws are looking at you. She's not cooking. In my case, I'm sure it was something like that. She's not doing this. She's not doing that. And unfortunately, the only Yoruba thing about me is my name. I'm not Yoruba in any way. Even in my sleep, if you wake me up, I'm not thinking Yoruba. So my name, because it's a Yoruba name, they now assume that because you are Yoruba, you must also understand culture and do all. If not, you share more Yoruba corny. So the things that they're expecting me to know naturally, I don't know it.
Wow.
And I'm sure that people are going through the same thing as well. Where they didn't. My mother also has a Yoruba name, but my mother is not even from Nigeria. So to understand all those intricacies,
my grandmother will call this ogegerege.
Do you understand?
In front
the intricacies of the things that I must now do, I don't know it. Wow. So if there was a support group, they would have sat me down. The Yoruba women there, first of all, would have sat me down to say, oh yeah, because my grandmother too is not Nigerian on my mother's side, right? My grandmother on my father's side, we can't really conversate because I can't speak the language that she can speak.
Wow.
So really, there was nobody to say, sit down, my child. Because people were happy that I was marrying. Let's start from there. Just marry and be going. Just be going. When you get there, and then of course people are now feeding you. Make sure you have more than one child. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. Don't bother yourself with it. So much nonsense.
So you see, I'm listening to you right now, and I know there are lots of people who won't get married right now, and someone is saying, "Oh, that I'm going to introduce you to someone who is a widower,
of course,
or someone who is a widow, who's got children, a divorcee."
Yes,
and they're not thinking in line of what you're
can't
saying.
Because they don't know. They don't know. You can't give what you don't have.
So you have situations where the children are even up to maybe the age of the late.
Sometimes even older.
So how do we ensure that people? I know that you are beginning to advocate for this. Are there support? I mean, because people are listening to us.
There are no support groups.
So why have you not started one?
That's my plan right now. I'm working towards setting up a support group. But then my support group that is going to be a physical support group, I can't cater to people in America.
No.
I will start from somewhere.
You have to start on Zoom, start virtually.
You think so?
I think so. Okay. Because we're about to start support group that looks like Alcohol Anonymous for people who are battling with addiction, and of course we already have people on volunteer spaces around Lagos, but I'm also thinking, hey,
because that's not global, it won't be.
Yeah, it might be better to start virtually, where people can, and all the curriculum is a 30-week kind of support system,
right.
It's ready,
right?
But you want, because the world is a village right now.
Yeah.
So if you're meeting in Lagos Island, what of someone who has that need in Cameroon or something, someone who has a need in Senegal, so you need to cater for except you want to do a hybrid,
Yeah.
but whichever way it needs to be done,
It needs to.
because I don't think that people understand.
Yeah.
Even when people recommend, oh, this is our brother, he lost his wife, bring,
Doesn't mean he's
they
okay.
don't understand the psychology involved
Yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
So I think it might be good for you to set up that support group as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at how many people have been pushed into this,
A lot.
and it didn't sound like blended family, because
A lot. The support groups that I've seen that are outside Nigeria, then when I say there's no support groups in Nigeria, I'm probably not probably, I know I'm the first person that has come out and is talking about blended and stepmothers and all of that. The support groups that I saw that are outside, all they do is complain bitterly about their either stepchildren or bio mom. And I thought to myself, this is not good for anybody, because you're adding more fire or adding more fuel.
Willing women.
No, which people like, because miserableness likes companionship.
Yeah.
So people are not looking for, and a lot of people, we think people are looking for a solution. No.
They just want to vent.
And they also, it's because their problem or wherever they are is familiar to them. And so I would rather stay in a place that is familiar to me than venture and touch something that I don't know anything about, even if that is going to be my saving grace. So familiarity keeps you in pain, because you would rather stay there. At least that's why they coined that, the necessary evil, or the angel, the devil I know.
Yeah,
it's because of familiarity. So, and a lot of people, they also think religion will say God also doesn't like divorce. So you are also, some of those relationships really need to break. Some of them really need to break. However, some of them can. I personally think that any relationship really, to a large extent, can be savored.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a couple, new couple,
Yeah.
who are into this blended thing.
Yeah.
So what should be your disposition to? So let's bring different scenarios.
Okay.
How do you handle a woman who left your new husband, or the husband left? So this one is a divorce case.
Right.
The woman is alive.
Right.
The children, the woman probably has custody of the children.
Right.
Or the husband has custody of the children.
Right.
How do you handle blended family in that situation?
So when you say the woman has custody of the children, so the woman has remarried.
The woman is not remarried.
So neither of them have remarried.
The man now is marrying.
And the children are with the wife.
Yes.
Then it's easier. Because I have a friend.
But they have to come for holiday.
Oh, I have a friend. Some of them don't. Some of them, the mothers hold them completely tight and say, you're not going to go and see your father.
No, but this time around, the family.
If they come for holiday, they still need to. That initial conversation must happen.
So who initiates the conversation?
The father at this point goes to tell the children, and he doesn't. Well, and the woman, his ex-wife, that I'm about to get married, and this woman is XYZ. So now our relationship has morphed. That clarity needs to be there.
So what if they don't, or if the woman does not have the capacity to handle the children? Because you also have women like that.
Of course.
Now, so
and the children come to stay with the man completely.
Yes.
Well, and
she begins to maltreat them.
See, I'll say this thing: when you talk about maltreating, when you say maltreating, you mean the stepmother is maltreating the children?
Yeah, now? So she doesn't have a child yet, and she's still thinking,
hurt people.
We know.
Okay.
So now she's not even willing to.
She does not know that she's hurt.
Okay.
Okay. And it's so easy to dish out those things, because guess what? They are biological mothers who maltreat their children.
Yes.
So this is the first thing I always say. Why should I then be perfect? I can't.
But the children are the receiving end right now.
Yes, but the children. So when you're talking about the woman is maltreating them, then there's something fundamentally wrong with that woman. The truth is, the man may never know. The man he's not at home. So he then needs to be at home. He has to. Now, this is a new environment for everybody.
So would you advise that maybe the children move to their mom for the
Not necessarily, because unless it is established that she is maltreating them.
This is established.
If it's established, then if the man cannot handle his wife, then let them move to but personally I think that they definitely need to go through therapy, because anybody that hurts anybody is in trouble.
Now, in a situation where the children are with the mom,
Yes.
and the new wife is afraid that what if my husband goes there and then they begin to have an affair?
Well, there's a problem with the woman as well. She's insecure, and there's really nothing whether the man goes there or doesn't go there. So
Maybe the man needs to go with her.
if he was sex, why did he leave her in the first place?
I mean,
Why did he leave her in the first place? So that's why I'm saying that if there are issues, it's because the human beings involved have issues. So they themselves, like I had issues. I did. And I sought help. So, and I had to first of all tell myself that I had issues. And I was not ready to stay in such a place with me not being me.
what you see, there's this thing about us Africans. So what we're saying right now, people are going to think, oh, they're sounding American. This is Western.
It's not about American.
Blah, blah, blah,
I'm
blah,
Nigerian
blah, blah,
and I
blah.
live in Nigeria.
So because now there's a family angle.
Yes.
How do you do you need to meet with each of the families
Yes.
to now say, okay, this is what this is the way this is the template we have decided to follow? Or
If you do that in a normal situation, why can't you do it in a blended situation?
but sometimes the family is also very bitter to say,
Everybody, the truth is everybody is bitter. Oh yeah, so if we stay in our bitterness, who is going to find light?
and so they say we don't want to even see this guy.
And that's fine, then stay in your house.
But
It's
we
also
have a-
because we think
we have a child.
that's fine. The child, see, I'm holding myself so that I don't say certain things. And people will not start thinking, is that something? I kid you not, the nonsense we add to these things, and the things that we think we need to do to be able to be seen as the good one is what the problem is. If I come in, especially because I've come in with an open heart, right, which may not fall on open ground, which is understandable, but if I am okay, a lot of things that happen, okay, for example, the child is not calling me mommy. Why am I bothered?
See, Adeola, you have grown.
That's
to
what
this
I'm
level.
saying now.
So we are talking about someone who has not gone through this journey,
Absolutely.
right? So I have
So
found
they need help.
they didn't
Yes,
prepare
is what
me.
I'm saying.
They didn't. I'm found myself. I
Then
thought
look
it's gonna
for
be-
me. I will prepare you.
You
I will
can't
help you.
prepare everybody. So
No, I
on
can't
this
prepare. I will
on this
look
show,
for other people that
now,
can prepare other people.
on this show now, I am in this situation. Or they
Yeah.
told me, Mary, if you did do it, now I'm facing all kinds of issues.
Yeah.
What's the first step I need to take?
You need to go for therapy.
Where
you
do I
need
go
to
for
find
therapy?
help. Oh, there's many therapies everywhere. Or
It's not-
therapists in
it's
different
not-
places.
Therapists cannot.
I mean, at least I support stepmothers, right? And work with that in that scenario, as my friend calls it, but scenario where we support women and help them. But I've realized that half of the time, because I went through it, half of the time is the harsh words we say to ourselves that is the problem.
But the harsh word is coming from somewhere.
Yes, it's coming from you.
Yeah.
So sometimes we also tell ourselves stories that don't exist and we run on it as though that is the truth. And 90% of the time it's a lie. But because we have told ourselves this story, it's like you've told yourself this story so much that you have become it. So we come in thinking, oh, if I don't, at a point I used to say to myself, there's nothing I can do that will please anybody. So of course, there'll be nothing that I will do that will please anybody. So I will die trying and I still won't please anybody.
Sure.
So I don't say that anymore. Everything I do, people will value and appreciate. Right? So for me, the first things that I started to change was my thought process. The things that I had assumed or I had concluded on, or I thought that, oh, this is how it is. When the truth is, it is not. Half of the time, you're not, the person is not even seeing you. It's like a woman or a man who expects his wife to always notice them and tell them they're looking beautiful. I say to people, can you please look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself you look beautiful? It's because you are lacking it. That's why you think it's warm, and also because they've taught us that, oh, your spouse is your best friend, your freezer, your television, your air conditioner. Then you lose your life and you lose your friends. You think, oh, now that I'm married, we have gone body, so nobody else needs to come in. And I made that mistake as well. All the people that I felt had a thing that my husband didn't have, I cut off.
So don't we think we need to start appointing mentors who understand the dynamics of blended family for people who won't get into
Of course.
Definitely.
It's
blended
important.
family?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because nobody prepares you for it.
nobody even prepares you for even normal marriage, not to talk of blended
Yeah.
homes. How many people sit in and tell you that if you do this one, it should be is now that mentorship and coaching and therapy and all those things are coming into the forefront. Before it wasn't like that. So nobody, how many people prepare you for childbirth? How many? They'll just say, you want to get pregnant, and it's time to. Some people go through, some people never regain themselves again after having children. So nobody tells you all those things. So it's the same thing with blended homes. Somebody needs to sit you down to say, look, these are the things that can happen. However, even if there's all this hell happening within you, there's heaven within you, all this hell will not disturb you. At a point, this hell will respect you and understand the heaven that is within you, and they will leave you alone.
So what happens when there is almost a decision that we will not accept by the children?
Okay.
Let's say they poison
If
their
they're
mind.
older.
Yeah.
If they're old, okay. If they're living in my house, and they're living in my house, right? That's fine.
They will tell you it's not your house. They say it's my father. Our father.
That's fine.
Our mother and our father built that house.
See, PF, there is no way on earth you are going on your lane. After a while, people will see you for who you truly are. And if love really is what is moving you, and unconditional love, those children will come. They'll be telling themselves the truth behind. Those children also need huge help because those children are damaged.
Who wants to go through this thing?
Is that who wants to go through this?
Who wants to be a stepmother? We need to start that show now.
Who wants to be a stepmother? In fact, I'm going to write a book titled Dear Stepmother. And I wrote it somewhere. I was like, I'm going to write a book
Who wants to be a
titled
stepmother?
Dear Stepmother, and just write out my heart.
They don't tell you guys
her.
these things.
They don't. The children also need it, because the children also are thinking, if I'm friendly with her, other people will see me and think I'm not being loyal to my parents. And that's come from somewhere, right? So it's and you know, when I'm talking, it sounds like, oh, it's only in blended homes. Even in normal homes, there's also a dynamism that
There's dynamism. I mean, you need to blend into
you need to be able to, yes.
But I mean, you are talking about 1-to-1. This one, 1 to
yes.
I think
And then in all of it, you then have we're
important.
not even spoken, sorry, darling, of now having your own child or children.
yeah, because I'm looking at the web. I'm looking at the center.
I'm looking at the web.
I'm looking at the husband and wife.
World Wide Web.
I'm looking at all the, you know,
The links.
the links,
The things
and
that
each
they
of
are-
this link has got their vested interest.
Of course,
They've got their.
everybody has agenda.
Jola has a very, very interesting way she tables these layers of relationships.
I'm looking at it on. I'm looking at it.
There is you and the husband.
Yes.
There is you, the husband, and his kids.
Ah.
Right? There's you, the husband,
His kids, your kids.
Mhm.
There's you,
Your
the
husband, his kids, your kids, his parents. Your parents. The in-laws.
The in-laws.
Or former in-laws.
Former in-laws.
in-laws.
And their family.
And their family.
By the time you are done, and then they're now friends.
I'll see you next week. Viewers, on that note, I don't know what to say.
They're not friends.
We still have 10 minutes.
They're well wishers.
You don't know what I've gone through today.
Who think your relationship
You went for a
must be a particular way or the other?
Yeah.
And they're looking at you and say, but I was there before she came or he came. Then
that man cannot even be normal.
There are so
can't.
many expectations as well.
So many.
Expectations.
And then you now have your own child, and everybody's watching
how you're going to treat
how you're
your
going to
child.
treat your child, even inclusive of the father of the child.
Is it not better for them to leave the country and just go somewhere else?
Okay, but can you run away from everybody?
I know, but at least that gives you
That
less
will give you
pressure.
some. That
How
will give
many
you
people
some.
can run away?
But
from
you run away to
the
London.
country?
Is the family not in London? You run away to America.
No, but
Would there not be some
They can't
family?
be, there are some countries where they can't just jump
So
on
you go to China.
No. Even in the UK, you can't just come and say we have
Yeah.
arrived.
Yeah.
And the people that are likely going to create trouble, they can't
Just
they
get
will
on
need
board.
visa.
Yeah, they will need visa.
You get-
They will need you to write them letter
You get-
to invite them. To invite
You know, there are two ways to kill a lion, from what I've been
I know
taught.
this one is more than
The
two
first way to kill a lion
is to be a lion.
is to fight the lion.
Uh-huh.
But you might end up with tribal marks
Of course.
or scars. But the other way is to avoid the lion, because a lion will die for lack of prey. You know, so if I can travel
Just be.
and move away,
Maybe,
They say jump and pass.
maybe if I cannot even enter the situation, in the first place.
Yeah.
But the truth is,
somebody still has to.
and I remember one of our very good friends from before, you know, would tell you, you know, those children are not your children.
Yeah.
You call them your children.
Yeah.
They would tell you, you know, why do you want to go and marry somebody that has already been married before and has children that, but are you the one that must love them?
Maybe what?
But
okay,
I'm
go
saying
on.
that because, you know, there are people who think, there's some people who might think that, you know, those people should, nobody, that why should you get yourself involved in a situation like that?
It's easy for people to
It's
say
easy
that.
for people to say, but the truth really is that, like you said, some of these people are really great people.
Somebody will marry
and
them.
somebody will marry them.
Maybe you also, maybe
You
you,
or someone
it might
else.
also be good, maybe
Somebody will marry
to
them.
begin to befriend the children before you even get married, to see, because it might
Yes,
play a
but
good,
you definitely have to do that. You definitely have to
it
do
might
that.
affect your
that's a
decision making.
That's
Yeah.
a good thing.
And you check out
However,
the family.
sometimes the relationship still changes when you come.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't change. But if you do your due diligence, you know, it's this thing we talk about, that our parents used to check families.
Oh yeah.
And we accused them when we became Christians
Yes.
of, you know, they are snooping
Yeah.
and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But you realize that they were checking for patterns.
Patterns.
Yeah.
So you want to, because Bible says, he that wants to build a tower, you need to count the cost.
Yes.
So I'm a lady. I want to marry this man. I'm
has
coming into a
children.
blended family. He's got children. And I know all these webs we're talking about. So I want to check out.
Yeah, but they don't know. You don't know the webs.
You know the webs.
Now, I mean,
that-
we can
now-
make.
That's what I'm saying.
We are
saying
educated.
that-
Now you now need to check.
Educate.
Let us. Who are the people that? What webs should I
Who are
check?
the people
So you go and
inside?
check this family. What is their tendency?
Yes.
They are troublemakers. Okay, these people are connected. You check this one. These ones are Iraqis.
Yes.
I can see
Yes,
Osama bin
yeah.
Laden.
So you know who to first of all cut
So
off.
you want to check and say, based on
What is
evidence
now?
available,
Yes.
am I willing
Am I ready?
to
Am I able? Am I
to
able?
get into this? Or I
Yeah.
tell the guy, you know what?
Give me
I
1 year.
love you. I want to be with you.
But
But
from a distance.
I am not sure. I think best
From a distance.
friendship is what we
It's
do.
wisdom. It's
Wow.
wisdom.
Because that at that level there's full disclosure.
Yeah.
You know what you are getting into. And because you have their knowledge,
Leslie,
you
you're
can
late.
now mitigate against, okay, how do we neutralize? So you now, and those are the discussions in courtship.
Those are the
To
discussions
now
we
say,
need to have.
okay, so I have done this study. This is
And
what I
I've
found.
seen these people are this.
Osama bin Laden is
Do
a
you
member.
agree?
Is a member of this family.
Osama bin Laden.
They throw bomb. So how are we going to handle this?
How
thing?
are we gonna
So
handle
it
them?
says, you know what,
Exactly.
we're going to cut them off.
Yes.
Okay, can we document it?
Yes.
Cut them off.
Exactly.
So that way, you now know the other ones.
Everybody's holding.
You now know
holding
the
themselves
strategy and tactical
accountable.
information you now
Yeah.
need to apply
to
for the ones remaining.
Exactly.
You know, because
Because you can't cut all of them off.
You can't
That's
cut
the
all of
truth.
But
You can't cut
it's-
all of them off.
It's
I know.
so tedious.
I am drained. I am drained.
It's so tedious. Because I remember, right at the beginning, I
Yeah.
remember asking at one point, Auntie, are you sure about this?
But look at this monkey that is talking. Is this same time, almost same time last year? She was telling me that there was this boy she was liking, whose wife died,
No, I
who has
don't-
children.
I
I said, Eti Amelo.
I don't have.
She has you.
I did it like this.
She has
How
support
many
system.
years?
I don't have an issue, right? I don't have an issue.
Going
right?
into this.
Model of
Yes,
mud.
model of God. I was saying it is tedious.
Or puddle of mud.
It is
But you are
tedious.
capable.
But I'm apart from that, right?
You have been
I
good.
also had.
You have a mentor.
I also by proximity.
She had some. She had some bullets.
proximity. I was like, okay, by proximity, but it is tedious.
My dear.
It is tedious.
Idea.
And also nobody told me.
I can't
Before she
I
jumped.
can't even
You know,
process
if people are willing to do what would help them, I'm not sure that it's. I mean, I'm not sure right now. If you ask me to choose anybody else, I would choose anybody else but my husband, because I think now there's a huge harmony.
You have grown.
Right.
You have grown.
And so there's we now.
So if we see it as a setup for growth,
Yeah.
and have a growth mindset,
Yeah.
it will work out for your good.
Yes.
It
It can work out for you.
I was just going to say, how the Bible says God talks about his will, his
perfect will, and then there's something there's something else. There are 3 layers.
There are 3 layers to the will of God, right? His will.
There's one that is good.
Okay, so there's the will of God, and there's the good will,
and then there's the perfect will, something like that.
So even when you want to align with the perfect will, but it doesn't mean that
I'll be praying for you.
If you find yourself in the
it's not as bad.
I'll set up support.
It's not as bad. Anyway, maybe it's because of where I am right now.
Madam,
let me not lie.
How much have you paid as cost fees?
Oh, how much am I still paying?
No. Let us leave the one you are
okay,
doing.
what I'm doing now.
How much have you paid as cost?
Okay, what I'm doing now is to help people.
Because
now.
you are talking.
But yeah,
Madam, you have grown.
It's been a journey.
If you had not taken a decision that I'm going to make this work,
No, I would have been out at least 2 years ago.
So this is
for sure.
Because I remember when I met her the first time, you looked like SU.
But that had nothing to do with anything. I just wasn't wearing earrings.
I
had natural hair, and in his village, girls that have natural hair and don't wear earrings.
I look at her. I wish I took
your problem.
I wish I took a picture that time.
And then people also need to keep their friends. If I can preach this, they need to keep their lives.
Keep your friends.
If I can preach this till thy kingdom come,
keep me as your friend.
Don't allow anybody cut you off the friends.
Keep me as your friend. I'm a good friend.
Enjoy yourself. Go out, travel, spend time with other people that give you air. Don't spend time with miserable people, please, because they're not going to help you. So spend time with people that will uplift you, that will say the right words for you to hear.
Join social groups,
join groups that can give you the kind of support that you need. Because that's one thing that I wish I didn't
let go of.
You
became a recluse.
You do understand what I mean? I became a couch potato.
There's a way.
PF. Let me also say one thing. Where you put your energy, it grows.
Madam, is because you have learned that now.
That's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
So you're helping them.
So for people who only see the negative, we need to start to shift.
When you are inside that battle.
But I was inside. I was inside too.
Yeah, and that's why that's why from personal experience, she can say, look, if this is what
the theory.
This is where you are in.
I'm not theory. I'm full on practical.
This movie is better watched as an onlooker.
To be the main actor full on practical
in this movie.
So I can tell you when this happens, just do this. When
this happens, Kingsley James.
When this happens, this is how you navigate.
Your name is in the Bible. That's why you're able to navigate it. It's a Bible translation. As long as it's a Bible translation, that's why they can navigate it. But guys, that's it on the show tonight. This thing is possible, is doable, is real. And don't just jump into things because people are matchmaking you. Remember that when when it comes to blended family, you are not getting married to just one person. You are getting married to a legion.
Yes. In fact, I like that.
So
you
need to understand that, and you want to analyze them and be sure that you are the right person for this, but to cast out these legions and navigate through them. But kudos to Adeola. I'm never tired of listening to you, even though by the time we hit 30 minutes, it's as if I've been loaded. I'm looking for myself. But if she's done it, then you can do it. It's just I see every challenge in life is a set up for us to grow. And then you want to choose whether you are at cause or you are at an effect. And I think you can be at cause and take responsibility. There's no battle you can win if you choose to. Thank you very much for joining us on the show today. We will see you next week by God's grace. Till then, keep loving, keep living, and remember that we love you.
Yes. Always. Thank you. Bye.
We're done with this conversation, right? Like, there's no continuation.
You can continue.
No. I mean, it's fine. I'm just saying, like, there's no part 2 for this, right?
It's up to
it can be. It's up to you.
It's up to us.